Romania, 1931. Castle Dracula. I, Roger M. Renfield, have been sent by the Harker and Hawkins law firm to complete the sale of a number of English properties to the castle's master, Prince Dracula. So Dracula has been hospitable. His domain is less so. Ghosts haunt the halls of this oversized tomb, alongside other unnameable creatures, men made of smoke and ash. My host swears they're nothing but bad dreams. And yes, it's true. I have a history of waking nightmares. That I've lost good years in a sanitarium. But since when do nightmares leave handprints? No amount of charm and hard liquor can fully convince me the monsters aren't there. The more Dracula plies me with them, the less I trust him too. Who can I rely on in this terrible place? Our nightcap knocks me out until sunset the following day. I'm a total disgrace. I feel like shit. Someone's come through, and I left documents on the desk. I am absurdly late for work. At least there'll be a distraction from everything that happened last night, my own conduct included. Alongside the documents is a breakfast tray. Scrambled eggs, bacon, grilled tomato, and hash browns. Most of it looks delicious. Can't say I want the bacon, but in these parts, best to eat it and avoid any undue attention. Beside the plate, a freshly cut rose is being used as a paperweight, keeping a delicate piece of stationery in place. I move the rose aside and look at the message. Master Renfield, I apologize for the disturbances last night. Do not feel guilty about being distressed by the condition of our home. It makes terrible noises that stoke worse ideas. If you'd like a tamer evening, there'll be tea in the parlor where we ate yesterday. I've invited the brides for a proper introduction. Theodora is eager to hear about her new home. Present yourself at the parlor between 7 and 8 if you've any interest. Otherwise, best of luck with your work. Prince Dracula. As I eat breakfast, I consider my next move. Whatever I do now will set the tone for our relationship from here out. Should I try to patch things over or let the wound fester? Furthermore, there's that forbidden haunted bathroom, my bathroom, closest to the tower anyway. Best to confront new fears as soon as possible. I can't spend this whole trip afraid of a sink. If I don't attend tea, I ought to confirm the ghost was nothing but a trick of the faulty lights, lest I develop a new phobia. Besides, I never did get to shave last night. What'll it be, Renfield? Heed your master's call or brave your creepy toilet? Why don't I accept his invitation to tea? I would love to meet my master. It would be rude not to take him up on his offer. He is my host after all, and when he saw me jumping at shadows last night, he was uncommonly polite about it. I might have already offended him, scared over nothing but the creaks and strange shapes of an old castle. I hope I haven't ruined our relationship before it even started. Ooh. At 7 on the dot, I step inside the parlor. Dracula waits on the sofa with a rail guide on his hands. He's totally absorbed and doesn't acknowledge me until I'm just about at the coffee table. Evening, Master Renfield. Planning a trip? I thought we'd charter a boat, but then I remembered Bistrita had a rail service. Now I'm wondering if that's easier. It'd have to be, wouldn't it? There's a lot of coast between Romania and Britain. It wasn't always like this. Strange how the world turns once they didn't think it turned at all. I remember when a trolley rattles through the parlor door. The bride in the old-fashioned dress pushes a tea tray alongside us. She moves the teacups and saucers to the table, then offers us milk and sugar. Dracula refuses both. Just milk, thanks. There's a range of sweets on the middle shelf of the trolley. Care to join us, Theodora? She looks at me with disinterest, but takes a seat regardless. Comfortable, Master Renfield? Yes. Yeah. Also, I know, it's Renfield. I hold my cup between my hands. In the mountain climate, any extra source of warmth is pleasant. It heats the joints of my fingers where the fireplace doesn't fully reach. I'm a bit stiff from work. The break is worthwhile. My husband says you come from London. She doesn't pour herself any. Her hands fold over each other and across her lap, like a large pale butterfly. Theodora is maybe half Dracula's middle-ish age, younger than me, certainly, yet she has manners I haven't seen outside my father's work parties. They make them different in the Balkans. A night on the town in Berlin will give her a heart attack. London originally, yes. Is it nice? Is it nice? What do I say to that? It's London. Whether it's any good doesn't matter. It happens to people whether they like it or not. It'll happen to her soon. There's always something to do. Always something to see. Everything you'd want from a metropolis. But you left. But I left. It's sad seeing her obvious discomfort with her husband's plans. I don't know if leaving will be an option for her. She doesn't seem to have had any say in them going. Well, Theodora is apprehensive about whether or not we'll fit in, if civilization is worth bothering with, if it refuses to take us. She forgets we've never needed anyone's permission or acceptance to thrive. He reaches over the arms of both sofas to hold her shoulder. His grip on her is sturdy and resolute. He's not offering typical reassurance. It says, you should know this. Remember who you are. There are some good people in England. That much is true. Shrugging Dracula off, Theodora reaches for the middle shelf of her trolley. Enough of that. How about a piece of cake? She rummages through. There are a few choices. Sponge, meringue, tort. All that just for 3? Oh no, for you. Huh? Vlad and I are both allergic. To cake? Celiac. A strict meat diet with plenty of wine and coffee to wash it down. Or tea. He sculls his cup, leaving only the dregs. But you've gone to such an effort with these. It's fun baking. When I was young, I liked to bake. Bread mostly. Now there's never any reason unless we have a visitor. She made them from scratch. A so-called princess baking for a commoner. Which will you start with? Ooh, sponge, meringue, or torte. Or is it torte? I have no idea, but I think I'll go for the meringue. It's not pure meringue. Some kind of meringue tart variant with a pie base that'll have a fruit filling. Here you are. She takes it from the trolley. It's on a bread plate that matches the cup and saucer. All their dinnerware seems to match. Amazing how the other half live. When I lift it from the plate, it's immediately obvious something is wrong. The meringue wobbles. It hasn't been fully toasted. The base is too heavy. Anyone who'd eaten a meringue tart before would know it's wrong. But if she's allergic, maybe she's never eaten them? I feel bad for judging. Thank you. I bite in. The base is nothing but pie crust. A solid inch of pie crust below a wet meringue. Cake is cake, isn't it? It's sweet and it's a treat. Finish the damn thing. I eat it too quickly. Maybe she'll take it as a compliment, rather than a desperate need to get it over and done with. She looks surprised. Was it any good? Her dewy, doe-eyed stare puts me on my back foot. She's suspicious of me. Can I lie convincingly enough to overcome that? Even if she doesn't believe me, that might be better than damaging her pride. At the end of the day, she did give me cake. Being honest would show respect, though. She could improve before she begs for someone else. Avoid upsetting her future English neighbors. What to do? Well, I will be honest and respect her, because I have a feeling, okay, look, I don't know if Renfield knows who he's dealing with, but I know who I'm dealing with, and I'm pretty sure they would respect my honesty, so yeah. Not bad by any means. The meringue had exactly the right amount of sweetness, and the base had the right balance of moistness and crunch. But her eyes somehow got waterier. The edges of her mouth tremble. Am I really about to bully a 20-year-old over her cooking? Yes. Cooking she can't eat because she's allergic to it? Hit the brakes. Lie, man. Lie. Be cruel to be kind. Be cruel to be kind. There were some areas that could be improved. Perhaps cook the meringue for longer? An experiment with a fruit filling. Lemon would be great. Thank you for your feedback. She tenses and scoots away from me along her sofa. Dracula, who's kept silent throughout our whole discussion, suddenly lurches forward and places his empty cup and saucer on the table. If Theodora made a mistake, it wouldn't happen twice. Of my brides, she's by far the most responsible and careful. She twists and arcs her whole posture towards him, like he's exerting some tidal pull on her. The shine in her eyes turns from hurt to admiration. Try the others. He brings an additional pair of plates down either side of the one I finished. I jump at the noise, then snap my eyes back up to confront his gaze. It's dark, smoldering, compelling. No, he startled me and I don't want it to happen again. That's all. It's not like I'm falling for Dracula. I mean, who would fall in love with such a sly fox of a man? Definitely not me. Isn't it a little admirable, though, that he'd take that kind of offense on behalf of his wife? Plenty of men wouldn't care less, unless you did something to insult their own taste, like calling their partner ugly. Let's say it's admirable. I take up my fork again for the battle ahead. Of course, take a look. He and I continue to regard each other as I plunge it in. Wonderful. Once I've finished all 3 cakes, Theodora loads the trolley and prepares to leave. It's been a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Master Renfield. The pleasure was all mine. She curtsies slowly. The trolley rattles off along the corridor to whatever distant part of the castle the kitchens are in. Guess I'll be going too. Work to be done. I appreciate how understanding you've been about how late I slept. Not to worry. Everyone's nocturnal here. If you were up at dawn, you'd be the odd man out. Allergic to sunlight too? Actually, yes. Why did I make that joke? Whenever I think I've got a chance of clawing into his good graces, I waste it on a social gaffe. Aren't I a credit to my firm? Constant malnutrition makes us pale, faulty. Our eyes can't stand the light. All 4 of you? It's hard to believe, of course. A whole family of nocturnal coliacs with vision problems. Yeah, well, birds of a feather flock together. These things do happen. Who am I to question it? I'm glad you've got each other for comfort. Standing, I smooth out my suit and dislodge a few crumbs. Well then. Wait. He throws a hand out at hip height to stop me. It connects briefly against my right side, the flat of his palm over my pocket. As your employer, what if I commanded you to stay? The princely fantasy of his might have gone a bit too far. Commanded. We've got a business contract. This isn't the military or a court. I mean, I wouldn't mind him courting me. He stares, full of human desperation. I don't think this is a professional interaction on any level. Yeah, I could be convinced. I could be very, very convinced. Yes, please. Yes, yes. There's bourbon in the cabinet. Stay, drink, talk. I don't need a lot of convincing. I turn to face the wall and move for the liquor cabinet door instead. Bottom shelf, the bottle with the rose pattern. It's beside the glasses. I grab both. When I turn back towards the sofa, I notice the door to the hall has closed, so Dracula remains seated in the same position as before. Stealthy. I tip the neck of the bottle at the hall. Castles get drafts. You'll acclimate. Placing the bottle on the table, he scoops it right back up, pouring the glasses as fast as I can get them, and the coasters down. He plucks his from the table without spilling a drop and extends for a toast before I've got mine. We toast. To better prospects and happier futures. Sure. That. We drink. His first sip takes half the glass, but after that, he slows right down, dipping at it like a hummingbird. I take it at an average pace. Typically, I let my clients lead interactions to avoid seeming pushy or misreading the mood. Dracula is special, a force of personality, but there's an unease beneath, a fear I don't see in clients in Amsterdam, or Paris, or Warsaw. It's quiet out here. There's power in being untouchable, but it's not the type he wants now. What if there was something in reach, something within his grasp? What if that something is me? Have you considered that? What if that something's me? I mean, hey, I'm well within grasp right now. If I may, why England? Why do you think? His voice is flat. It's almost a rhetorical question. He rotates his glass in one hand like a pot on a wheel, inspecting the smooth surface for imperfections. Because you're lonely here, because you're bored here. Oh man, I have no idea. Oh god, I'm gonna make a save. Save please? Yes, please, thank you. Alright, because you're lonely here. I have my brides. Ah, damn it! Are the three of them enough? No. He smirks and looks over my way. Maybe four. No, that's not what he meant. Perish the thought. He's definitely not thinking of being wed to me. I mean, hey, I think I would look amazing in white. I'm just saying. Now, I ought to warn you. Oh, wait, this is me. Now, I ought to warn you. Bigamy is illegal in the United Kingdom if all three of your marriages are certified and not just what you're calling your girlfriends. Not to worry. None of them are recognized in any of your courts of law. Which would leave me open for a British match, wouldn't it? To an open-minded woman? Yeah, of course. Who said anything about women? Oh my god, I really should have worn a turtleneck today. The prince is going to destroy me! That's a separate matter entirely. Let's hope progress can be made there too. He toes the air with his 2/3 empty glass, never for one moment breaking eye contact. His expression is insufferably smug. And devastatingly, forget it. It's not just the loneliness that's getting to me. I'm no mere land baron, Roger. Roger is fine, isn't it? But an investment manager of sorts. It's a bad idea to question where old money came from. Whether he's a war profiteer or a patent hoarder, that's information I generally prefer not to know. Sure, Roger's fine. There's one particular investor I'm an agent for. Until now, he was comfortable with a focus on Romania, the limited pool of Romanian business. Times have rapidly changed. Which means, to sustain the relationship, I must move to a larger pond. England. London, England. A population twice that of Transylvania, half that of all Romania, crushed within a single city. Given the recession, I'm sure the gents at Canary Wharf will be excited for an extra source of income. It needs new lifeblood, and I need fresh drones. Drones? Donies? Donies. Sounds like it'll be a perfect symbiotic relationship. And if it's not, well, he tosses back the last of his drink. It could be the end of me. I won't go down without a fight. I've survived far too many setbacks to die in this wretched century, surrounded by foes who couldn't hold a candle or a sword to the enemies of the past. Dracula can't be older than 55, and I would have put him somewhere in his mid-40s. This part of the continent is supposed to have changed a lot since the start of the 1900s. I hate to think what he went through in his youth. We will get you your happy ending. That's a promise. A promise. Those aren't like they used to be either. Oh my god, why is Dracula serving? Why is he serving? I want to believe yours. A promise then, Roger. To stand at Carfax together, fat off the riches of England, and laugh at the idea fate might have stopped us. Since there's nothing left in his glass to toast with, he lifts it high overhead, where the ceiling light pools inside. I drain mine and hold it out as proof. We both laugh. It's not just the bourbon that's raised our spirits. Mine is high, hoarse, embarrassing. I rate it in as fast as I can. His rolls and stretches out, settles deep, warms the air between us, a selfish bedmate of a laugh. Until he wakes to some unhappy reality, and his face returns to its disdainful default. We're nowhere near the end yet. I'm starved here. The paperwork will be done, so... A hunt. Tomorrow. Yes. A hunt. Roger, come hunting tomorrow. Oh, he meant literally starved. Is there any game near the castle? Maybe back at the bottom of the cliff path, but that's hours away. If we keep our eyes out. Done much hunting? I'm a city man, so no. A city man who had a city girlhood. 2 strikes against it ever happening. Don't worry about the game. Bring your warmest clothes and your sharpest glasses. I've never come home empty-handed. All right. I set the glass on the table. You're on. It'll be an exciting reward after hours of paperwork. I ought to head to bed. Fix the sleep schedule before it gets any worse. Not to worry. Like I said, we're creatures of the night. It works for some, but... Well, I'm no early bird myself. But there's a limit. This time when I stand, he doesn't block the exit. There's a flicker in his eyes. Sad. Calculating. Someone who's had something taken and has a plan to get it back. Good night, Dracula. Vlad. Vlad. I bow my head to him and leave the room. A few steps out the door, I brush past the bride who was in trouble yesterday. She turns a box of cigars in hand, barely responsive until our arms meet, her patience long since spent. Huh? Pardon. I take it slower to see if she has anything else to say. We never got a formal introduction. Flipping the box upright, she tucks it under her arm like a purse. Took your time in there. Sorry, he didn't mention any prior arrangements. It's not like I was on his calendar. This is just a habit of ours. She taps the exposed end of the box with 2 neat, pointed fingernails. Hit it off? I'd like to think we're warming to each other. Uh-huh. Careful. He's like that fireplace in there. Get closer than you're supposed to, and you'll overheat. She must know about his varied taste. Thanks for the advice, mistress. It says. Just says. She stalks inside. The door slams behind her. As good a sign as I'll get that I should head to bed. Just as soon as I can remember the way to the tower. Oh, sweet. Safe in bed, the key turned in the lock, and the window latched. I tuck the blankets up under my chin and shuffle around until the mattress forms to me like a sparrow in a dust bowl. The castle is too gloomy, too sprawling to ever feel comfortable. At least I've ended today less afraid of the host and with a clearer sense of who and what else is here. It's not a normal home, but it is a home to someone, and I can rest easier in the knowledge that I'm a welcomed guest. The hunting invitation was a surprise. Will I ever get the paperwork done? Hard to complain, though, being invited out somewhere by a man like Dracula. Sorry, Vlad. Not that it means what it used to. I crush my head between the two firmest pillows in the hopes I can grind out the thoughts, mortar and pestle style, crush them to fragments too fine to hold on to. When I moved to Germany and signed on for treatment, it was a choice between being who I wanted and having the partners I wanted. The kind of men who flirt with me. Other men aren't interested in me. That science isn't far enough along for that. All taking pieces out, no installing replacements. And I'm not allowed. I had to lie end to end on forms. Of course, red-blooded. I love cigars and girls and hunting. It got me what mattered. The rest, normal men pretend to like those things all the time. Berlin's full of white-collar heterosexuals who've never held a gun. I can play along and pretend it's the activity I'm interested in, not the scout leader, just a bit older to sit the exam than the rest of the troop. Somebody save me. Tomorrow will be a disaster. My thoughts couldn't keep me from the Sandman forever. Sleep comes to rescue me from the house Draculesti sooner than I expected. To take me far away. To show me other people. Whoa. Man, I'm really tripping, aren't I? Here he is. What kept you? Doesn't matter. There shouldn't be any interruptions tonight. Let's see what layer I can reach. Ayo? The phone rings. I answer. Roger speaking. Is M available? Sorry, she doesn't live here anymore. Oh no. You wouldn't happen to have her contact details? There are people who love her who want to know she's okay. No, not her details, but she and I run into each other sometimes. Would you like me to pass on a message? Are you sure that's reliable? It's the best I could offer. I know she's there. Who are you trying to fool? Why would anyone trust you with anything when you lie about the simplest facts? What? No, that's wrong. Put M on the line. Dracula looms overhead. His knees straddle either side of my hips, and his hands keep my head centered on the sofa's armrest. What would you offer in exchange for this moment? That depends where it's headed. Is this worth your attention? He dips in close and kisses my forehead. How about your loyalty? His lips travel lower, to mine. Or perhaps your life. Slipping around my jaw, he disappears against my throat, mouth opening wider to fit over the length of tendons and arteries and veins. I'm definitely, yes, of course it's worth it! When he speaks, his tongue flickers against my skin. Good. You were very lucky to catch my eye. Don't take my interest or my patience for granted. I take a hold of his shoulders to move him aside. He's stronger than me. I can't. His teeth sink into my neck, longer and sharper than they should be, curving under my skin to penetrate the vessels beneath. I'm a guest in my own body. He's the new landlord. Before he can drive himself deeper, a cold wind blows through the room, and he dissipates like smoke. Can't have that now, can we? Dreaming of him like that? It is just a dream. Forget your hopes and face what he does to people. The castle is missing its taller towers, and all of the stonework is damaged. The windows glow a duller shade. There are murmurs in the rooms of the gatehouse either side of me. I stand with the tips of my shoes against the drawbridge, in the spot where the portcullis will fall if it lowered. On the opposite side of the bridge, across the track, a shadow clambers up the rocky mountainside in a great hurry. Someone has fled the castle. It's important to bring them inside. That's why the bridge hasn't been raised. Despite the fact. Dominita! It's too late! We must! An arrow fires into the exterior of the gatehouse. There is an army at the gates. Dozens of men on horseback charge along the cliff track towards the bridge. For the most part, they wear clothes instead of armor, and they carry old weaponry, swords and longbows. Jolted from my complacent stare at the mountains, I hurry inside in search of the portcullis crank. There's no sign of a mechanism on the ground floor, so I zigzag up several flights of stairs, through the guard rooms, to the top of the gatehouse. A man in a tunic struggles with the crank. I can't! Not by myself! Without a word, I take the other handle. We unwind the chains until it's got momentum. The portcullis falls as the horses arrive on the bridge. There's a crunch as it lands on an attacker below. We stop the riders, but if the gate is propped open any wider than a human torso, they could just dismount and crawl past. Ugh. Didn't know you had it in you. We've got to help them. Bar the entrance. Stop them. Pardon, Dominita, but we're 4-1 at best. Weren't we to evacuate? I know you'd rather not leave him, but I'm sure first and foremost he'd want you to survive. A sword cleaves through the guard's head. His corpse collapses forward to reveal a trio of sweaty, winded invaders who've been forced to enter on foot. I wheel open and flee through the opposite stairwell. At the bottom, I barge past an additional trio attempting to pincer maneuver. They're too startled to do anything. Exiting into the frenzied courtyard, I check the gate over my shoulder. The portcullis did crush something. Now men writhe and shuffle past on either side of the mound. While I'm distracted, I run headlong into a solid object. An arm locks around my chest, and a hand latches onto my skinny wrist together. This invader, who's caught me, presses his clean-shaven jaw close to my ear. He raises his voice to get above the chaos, despite our proximity, and almost deafens me. Domnita! Where's your dom, huh? I try to stomp his toes, but his boots are too thick. He laughs it off. Where's Dracula? Didn't abandon you, did he? Leave all his precious things here for the taking? I don't know where he is! The arm tightens, threatening to break my ribs. Ah! That's so. Lord Dracula fails his vows, abandons his castle, runs its principalities into the ground. Worthless, isn't he? It hurts! The arm relaxes. The volume decreases. A chill runs down my spine. It's not the same man behind me. All the invaders have disappeared. Is he worth the effort? Watch yourself. This is what happens to all his people eventually. A cold hand grasps the back of my head and slams me face first into the solid rock wall. Here we are. Ammunition. I booked your tickets. Your mom brought over your bags. All we have to do is to get to Southampton and you're home free. My tickets. You're not coming. The friend in Calais, he only has the one room and besides, I thought maybe you'd like some independence. I mean, wasn't that the whole point? If I leave by myself, and they come looking, They won't. Your mom has everything with your dad handled. Lucy and the rest might be upset we skipped our party, but they'll sort it out. Anyone who wants to hunt you down will have to go through me. Enjoy your freedom, Dove. I'm letting you go. What if I want us to stay together? Will anyone ever be as good to me as you've been? I've forgotten how to trust the world. And myself. The best intentions don't mean you're not throwing me to the wolves. How can I ever repay you? Give the office a call. The moment you've picked an apartment, there's a whole stack of jobs with your name on them. We need our top conveyancer back. What's this all about the company? That'd be easier. A clean break for this stupid heart. A heart that only ever wants the impossible. Thank you, Jonathan. Now get some real rest. The sofa's yours. It's all I deserve. It's more than I deserve. I'm lucky to be here. I'm lucky to be alive. But what if I could ask for something better? Oh? This is your final warning. Leave Vlad Dracula alone. My gun is loaded. If you're not with me, you're against me. I shoot to kill. Even though I went to bed at a reasonable hour, even though I knew I absolutely had to not do it, I have once again slept into sunset. Vlad. Vlad! Forgive me. There's something wrong with me. Maybe it's a cold. I've behaved unacceptably. A fever, perhaps? I've got a fever. Roger? It sits on the same sofa as last night. Real schedule laid out across his lap. Everybody else is still asleep. Take what I said to heart. This is a nocturnal household. At 4 in the afternoon? My word! Then, since you're awake early, so we can sneak out before anyone sabotages our hunting trip. He folds the schedule aside and gets to his feet. Yesterday, he stayed seated the whole night. I've forgotten how tall he is. As he strides closer, he only gets taller. He halts mere inches away, so I have to tilt my head to meet his eyes. Shall we? Where to? The stables. Pushing past my shoulder, he leads to the corridor. God, why is this game so pretty? Someone is already at the stable gates, slouched in front of the latch with her arms crossed. Cesara? Husband, dearest. Come for a ride with us. That's not all you boys had in mind yesterday. She overheard. It's not like you to be concerned. She glances at me, then back at him. This isn't the season for it. Barely any game. What if there's black ice? It's not worth the risk. Consider it an important cultural lesson for him. This is how we live in the mountains. He tries to weave around her to the latch. She settles to block him. They shift left and right in a stalemate. We will try to reason with her. I'd really like to go. Last time we went, a bear almost threw me off a cliff. No, that's ridiculous! Yeah, Vladdy here's the liar. I'm honest to a fault. But I did save her from falling. I saved myself. Don't believe a word out of that man's mouth. Don't accept anything else from it either. I could accept many things from that mouth. I mean, if you don't mind. Are they really bears? Not if they know what's good for them. Sess juts out her jaw and sighs, blowing her fringe around. Fantastic. The lawyer came packed with a death wish. You're one to talk. She freezes, then defrosts, and steps aside. Knock yourself out. Seriously, you're lucky if a concussion is your worst problem up there. Vlad and I each accept half of the latch. He removes the bolt, and I swing back the first door. While he's opening the second, both of us are startled by an unexpected flash of color inside. The third bride holds the reins of a saddled horse, halted mid-step as she walks to ready another. Uh-oh. Looks like you boys have a tag-along. Hey, Anna. Hello. I will also take the horse outside to exercise? Riding lesson. The lady wants a riding lesson. Prefer me to act like a princess? Show me nice way to ride horse. Both of them ignore me completely in favor of glaring at Vlad. Roger, meet my third bride, Ileana. Never agreed to anything. This is the level of behavior we expect from her. Unhappy with free thought, or that I take your pony? Fine, she can accompany us. If you're this distrustful of me, Cesara, clearly we have to try to improve that. Ileana, return this to me, and fetch your Ceres. Where do you think I go before? Roger. The red mare in the far stall, Robigo, would be about your size. Thanks. Nobody's ever taken me hunting, but there were a few schools and family trips to stables. At bare minimum, I can saddle and lead a horse. Robigo is calm and cooperative. Her gear hangs right by her lot. Some gentle words and slow pets, and she's happy for me to harness her. By the time I'm ready, Vlad and Ileana have both left the stable. Robigo and I walk outside to discover Cez is gone. She moved while we were distracted too. Ileana is mounted. Vlad is in the gatehouse. I clumsily stick a foot in the stirrups and sling myself over. Rather than a graceful roll into my seat, I thud heavily on the hard leather. Too not new to yourself? It's fine. I'm fine. The gate rumbles upward. Vlad returns to us, and to his great black horse, Dis. Onward! The wind is our first obstacle. High on the cliffs of the Tijuta Pass, the only protection is the castle walls, and we've left those behind us. Please tell me we're heading somewhere sheltered. Halfway along, and into the ranges. Vlad doesn't shout over the wind so much as his voice carries through. A great wildfire spread further by the gale. His cape billows, but only in directions that won't obstruct him, as if he's an actor pursued by a special effect. A man of constant majesty, the hunt was of course for the purpose of posturing. To my knowledge, many hunts are, but this is someone who really knows how to posture. He shoots ahead of Ileana and I, along the track, to an intense stretch of darkness where the tightly tucked turns block the dwindling sun and our view. Are we supposed to chase him? No, ignore his challenge. Maybe he likes a man who keeps pace. His fancy is not worth the risk. You don't think I can do it? Your funeral. My pleasure to clean what is left from the cliff bottom. Failure, a good spice, turns men sweet and sour, flavorsome corpse. The longer I hesitate, the wider her smirk. Will it be safety or ambition, his company or hers? I'm going after Vlad. In for a penny, in for a pound, and a good pounding. Oh my god, this is probably a bad idea! I dig my heels in, tug the reins, and urge Robigo ahead. Her peaceful demeanor cracks, like the surface of half-burnt firewood, to reveal an ember inside. We canter, then gallop around the unpredictable cliff track. The rapid turns of the tracks are hard enough to follow visually, let alone react to. Tight corners, damaged edges, false steps. Despite herself, Robigo almost overshoots, coming from a downward slope into a right angle. I pull on her reins just in time to avert disaster. She comes out of the stop, skittish and heaving. There, girl. It's okay. When I look ahead, I glimpse Vlad's black cape in the last red flares of twilight. We can just push a little further. Sensing my resolve, Robigo whinnies assertively, papping herself back up and hurries to a canter. We'll catch him! Vlad! Right by a crossroad, He pulls Dis out of his gallop, and the pair rear high. Turning to face Robigo and I, they wear matched looks of impressed frustration. It wasn't a competition, but it was, and they lost. Honorably. Huh. Well met, Roger. I won't be underestimated. He resumes at a trot. I decelerate to meet and match him. Together, we take a right, off the main cliff track and deeper into the mountains. This crevasse, with its sheer sides, keeps us from the worst of the wind. The path climbs towards the snow-dusted mountaintops. Compared to the crevasse, the twilit peaks are blindingly bright. I cover my eyes as we approach. There are almost no trees here. The wind is gentler, but paralyzingly cold. It's close to night. The moon is watching. What and how are we meant to hunt under these conditions? Ileana arrives several minutes later. Seeing everyone in this new light, I realize that aside from some basic knives, nobody has any weapons in their kits. Where to? Nowhere. There's nothing to be done on this mountain, except perhaps maybe show me side saddle. There is. He tilts his head as far as he'll go. His eyes fall closed. An animal to the southwest, near the ridge, I think. How could anyone tell that from a whiff of the air? Experience. Come, it'll flee for its burrow if it realizes we're on its trail. What'd I do if I spot it? Truth be told, Roger, I doubt that'll happen, being unfamiliar with the local wildlife. But what if I do? You are full of surprises. We continue from the plateau to the base of the mountaintop this whole area works around, then descend onto the ridge. As the ridge goes along, it hollows out underneath, turning into a precarious shelf that curves out of sight. And the shelf narrows, and narrows, and narrows. At the widest part, we pause. My knuckles are white from the temperature, and my tight grip on the reins. The creature is just past that corner, which means edging around the narrowest part. Do it yourself. Leave the gentleman to me. Wouldn't it be thrilling to see if we can make it, Roger? Forget what Cesara told you. If any accidents happened, I will come to your aid. When I agreed to the hunt, I accepted the risk. I am definitely too wide for that path. Any grown adult would be. Vladis! Yet he's confident it wouldn't be a problem. Suicidally confident? The last of the light shimmers on the ledge. Definitely following Dracula into danger. In a single smooth motion, I dismount Robigo. Ignoring Ileana's appalled expression, I pass the reins to her. Vlad follows suit with this. Worthless idiot. He will let you drown. The cliffs and in all else. We'll be back soon. Vlad and I walk at a relaxed pace over the narrowing shelf. Is that what she does? Follow people around being patronizing? When she isn't grumbling at me. Underneath it all, she's a jewel in her own right, and a prince needs jewels in his crown. Someday she'll come around. Seeing people for their potential is smart. Forward thinking. Yes. Of course, you've got potential too. What kind do you see in me? An amusement, a steward, a companion, a general, given the right stuff. Or nothing but sustenance to burn through. Extending a hand from his cloak, I expect a grip on the shoulder or a pat on the back from him, but he reaches higher and further. To stroke my cheek with his thumb, you're okay? It would be a shame to have to waste a handsome face on anything less than companionship. While I'm distracted, he strides ahead. I will not be defeated! The shelf becomes too slender to walk side by side. Following a single file, I soon feel my left foot twist right, and my right foot skate left. Black eyes. Vlad isn't bothered. Now we can't even face straight ahead. To continue, we have to put our backs to the mountain and sidle along. In less than 10 feet, there won't be enough path to support the full length of our shoes. There's still ice, and the wind. I press myself against the mountain and look out. Jagged white peaks, black skies, and a golden moon. The only other thing in sight is Castle Dracula. Its torches glow red through the night. The eerie beauty of the Carpathians hold me in its thrall a moment too long. Vlad clears his throat to indicate I should move. Fear finally seizes my legs. How do I... Don't worry. Close your eyes. Why? But I'll do it. It'll get me off this ledge. An arm wraps beneath my legs while another slips behind my back. I'm lifted from my feet. Instead of a falling sensation, I feel us drift sideways, steady hands maintaining me at a perfect level. My back separates from the wall, which would mean we're not on the ledge anymore. But that's impossible. How? Keep your eyes closed like you were told. Open your eyes. Keeping my eyes closed. Wait, what do the rabbit and lion mean? He told me to shut my eyes, so I'm gonna keep my eyes closed. Rather than breach his trust and look, I close them tighter. I hold him tighter. Magicians never reveal their secrets, and I won't deny Vlad his. We aren't falling. That's all that matters. We round the corner and come to a stop. I'm placed back on my feet. When I open my eyes again, Vlad is there. We've arrived. This platform is a few feet across. It's not a massive amount of space, but it's enough that I feel steady and safe. I twist around to discover a large cave mouth. Inside is a messy, angular tunnel that runs out of sight. The wind hurries through determinedly. There must be another exit somewhere else on the mountain. Something lives here. Shall we find out what it is? Within a few turns, I've lost sense of where we are. My eyes haven't adjusted. Vlad places his hands on my shoulders to guide me. Forward. Watch your step. Obstacle on your right. We move along a passage to where the wind doesn't blow. He sniffs the stale atmosphere. Close. Ahead of us, a pair of bright yellow eyes reflect from the dark. Front-facing. A predator. Too small to be a bear. Looks like whatever you were tracking must have been eaten. There it is. Our prey. We're unarmed! Don't be afraid. Watch. Imagine a future where you're capable of this. Creeping forward, he enters the beast's den. A low growl rumbles from its throat. The growl of a wolf. Vlad intends to fight a wolf unarmed? Despite the logical and likely outcome, a dim, absurd hope seethes inside me that he'll win. The wolf glowers at him. Its head shifts as it tenses its posture, ready to attack. Wretched thing. Abandoned by your kin. Prove yourself or perish. It gnashes its teeth, spit glistening. Take the advantage while you can! Snarling, it launches at his throat. There's a metallic flash as Vlad brings his arm to eye level in self-defense. No! The wolf's jaws clap near his wrist. Careless. Using himself as a fulcrum, he spins the wolf against the nearest wall. There's a crack and a whine as it makes contact. Both of them fall to the floor. Limbs tangle, claws scramble, fabric and fur tear and scatter, growls, huffs, and yelps intermingle. Bones break, blood spurts, breaths end. Only half the heap is moving. Whoever's left lurches along to lie at my feet. Claws scratch the tip of my shoe. Whatever's there could come for me next. I have to get out of here. Kick us apart and run. I am eternal. Vlad rocks from all fours onto his knees, tossing his hair back and opening his arms with a flourish. He looks about like a gladiator desperate for the Colosseum's approval. Oh, that's right. This was all a performance. Eerily, my eyes make their final adjustment to the darkness. I can see his mouth is covered in blood. There are no knives in his hands, but his sharp nails are stained to the beds. Something is deeply wrong with him. It's compelling! It's compelling for show! Lowering onto one knee, I extend a hand to his jaw. He leans into the gesture. Shame crosses his face for the slightest instinctual moment. He conceals it with a prideful smile. Unseemly. None of your princes would ever do such a thing. Do I seem like a good British subject? Well chosen by your firm to serve me. There it is, what I hoped for. Approval, validation, warm regard. I am good at my job. All I gotta do is flirt my clients and, don't mind the mess or the blood or the fact that he's got fangs or claws. Not the job I signed on to do. After how hard I've fought to escape a life of obedience, I should have a visceral reaction against this. I should also be disgusted by the blood, the brutality, the needlessness of this whole display. Instead of an apex predator, he reminds me of a deer covered in antler velvet, desperate for affection, frightened by the nature of his own existence. I can't be mad at him. Nobody has ever wanted my approval like he does now. There's only one way I can reply. Do you need any help with the body? No. Follow the breeze to the exit. I dare say it'll be easier than the ledge we came in from. If he says so. I stand upright and listen for the whistle of the wind. There's a rustle and a scrape as he collects the dead wolf. On our way out, it drags along the stone. He holds it with none of the care he held me. Indeed, he shows utter disregard. The other exit worms around the interior of the mountain until it spits us out on the east face. A gentle bit of mountaineering puts us on the track. Soon we're at the tree-speckled plateau where we started. With an exaggerated grunt, Vlad drops the dead wolf at the foot of the least sickly tree. I'll fetch Ileana. Now there's moonlight. It's clear the wolf wasn't the best of its species. Elderly, barely bigger than a dog, with visible ribs and bald patches. Winning a straight fight against any wolf is impressive. I needn't have worried Vlad would lose outright, though. This creature might have survived, but it couldn't have killed him. Vlad will never yield. Vlad and this, Liana and Ceres, and solitary Robigo appear within 10 minutes. Load the body on Ceres? If she will allow. She doesn't shy away from it, evidently used to this sort of cargo, though some stress shows in her ears and pupils. Home. Nobody objects to that either. Clambering onto Robigo, I follow the others down the mountain. A chorus of voices echo through the canyon. In the time I've been here, I've heard nobody but Vlad and his 3 brides. There must be triple that number of people. I drift optimistically towards Ileana. Did you hear that? Merchants and cleaners. We never travel to town, unpopular with them there. Instead, it is brought to us. Men who do repairs on the gates, women who exchange the linen, all that. The many services rich will not do for themselves. They are untasteful beneath us. Strange, considering what we will do. She lurches ahead and leaves me to think. The castle rapidly grows closer. There are lights in the courtyard that haven't been used the past 2 nights. The glow rises above the outer wall. It's good to know I'm not alone with the family now. Something about safety in numbers. Not that the family mean any harm. Rich eccentrics, that's it. Like most clients. Corrupted by wealth, but not damned. I watch Vlad cantering at the lead. There he goes, through the gate, back into his dominion. Not long after, I follow. 3 times as many was a massive underestimate. 30 people, at a minimum, have brought almost a dozen vehicles into the yard. A long bonneted cabriolet, a horse-drawn carriage, a small truck, a motorbike. Some of the people chat in the stables as they feed their horses. Some offload cargo onto a flat section of pavestones. Some simply loiter on comfortable steps or under eaves. Theodora and Says are both present, deep in conversation with an imposing woman by the truck. Over the following seconds, everyone in the courtyard realizes Vlad has returned. The visitors are quicker to stop what they're doing than the brides. Says tries to continue her discussion with the woman until Theodora shakes both their shoulders in desperation. Greetings all. Welcome once again to Castle Dracula. Vlad opens his arms to the crowd. As ever, shelter in our courtyard and gatehouse as long as you need. Provided you have brought the customary sacrifice, you will enjoy your customary treatment. Now, I must continue inside and help Master Renfield to bed. Bed? Already? It's much earlier than the previous nights. Vlad urges Dis to the stables. I follow, ignoring a pair of eyes in the crowd that refuse to disengage from us. Says is not pleased that we're back. A few visitors cut through the foyer into doors on either side of us as Vlad and I pause at its center. The dead wolf has not accompanied us inside. Ileana was tasked with taking it to Theodora and Cesar's conversational partner, one Nicoletta Popescu, to be skinned. Despite the fact it's busier here than it was yesterday, the difference between inside and outside is striking. It feels almost peaceful. I stifle a hypocritical yawn as I ask, Bed now? Really? Vlad chuckles. Sleep or don't. That's your choice. But I insist you return to your room. Why? We will be having a party of sorts with our guests. The sacrifice I mentioned in my address will occur there. I fear they or their behavior will offend your English sensibilities. He thinks I'm too delicate for a Romanian party. After what we just did together, he should know better. Pardon? To say nothing of the fact, barely any of them, other than the brides, Miss Popescu and myself, can speak English. How about German? Roger, leave it. The bottom line is, you're not welcome. His eyes shine with genuine stress, as if from shame. He seems almost embarrassed by whatever this event is. It's not about my sensibilities. It's about how he appears to be. The risk of it leaving a bad impression. Then, even if it wounds my pride, I better agree to stay in my tower. Can't risk offending a prince. May I have dinner first? It will be brought to you. A large cluster of people pass to our left, headed for the ground floor corridor. Theodora says at a pair of visitors. One visitor, a young woman, follows at Theodora's heels, while the second, a girl in her late teens, leans heavily on Cesar's side. Vlad's attention turns to them. Tonight's guest of honor? Yes, you'll never guess where they've driven from. Cez keeps walking, as if losing momentum will stop the girl entirely. Driven and sailed and walked. Theodora's companion is an Englishman. Is that a Cornish accent? My word! A Londoner! In these parts? Work trip. Yourself? My sister. She's sick. His enthusiasm disappears in an instant. Looking over his shoulder, he watches Cez take the girl through the corridor. Miss Popescu said you'd give us a miracle. Miracles are for the faithful. Have faith in our power, good sir, or forfeit the right to its works. His heart catches at his throat. His eyes well. The man wants, like nothing else, to believe in Vlad. Oh God, I don't know which to pick. Yeah, I'm just gonna trust Dracula, I guess. As do I. I peer at him. He stands like a saint with his palms outturned and a resolute expression. This is how he wants to be seen. Come along now. Theodora takes the Englishman by the shoulders and walks him to the side of the hall. See you at the ritual, friend. Evening. Vlad said I wasn't allowed at the ritual. What happened to it offending English sensibilities? Time for bed, Roger. But I Looping an arm around my back, he guides me towards the stairs. As we reach them, I realize the man and the girl were taken in opposite directions. I tried to stop at the foot of the stairs, turn, confront Vlad. His arm slides lower, around my waist, where he has better leverage. He forces us both onward. When I try to open my mouth, I can't even manage that. There's pressure all over, hundreds of phantom fingers, in addition to the real hand at my back that hold my jaws together and keep me marching. Is it because I know the conversation's done? Or is this part of the power his followers speak of so reverently? Alone in my room, I watch the sky settle on its darkest shade for the night, a black like the underside of thick Arctic sea ice. Theodora brings dinner as promised, moussaka with additional vegetables on the side. It's perfect, and like her baking, moist yet firm. Half an hour later, Miss Popescu arrives to collect the plate in return for a tea tray. Evening? Staying put like you were told? The family made it clear I wasn't invited to the party. Good. They would eat you alive down there. She scoops the plate from the desk and sets the tea tray down. Not you, though? Has not happened yet? Being eaten down there, well, it has not happened in a dangerous way. She laughs over the stairwell. Wait! Do not trouble that brain with thoughts it is not meant to know. Enjoy your cake and enjoy your peace. She closes the door with a solid thunk. I drink the tea, a tap of chamomile, and eat a mercifully small square of dry I am having trouble. Apparently it's milfouille or something. I can't French, please. Please don't ask me to French. When I finish both courses, I get on my letter writing set and try to put pen to paper. The caravan is a great opportunity to write to the London office, send some word that everything's fine, let Jonathan know I'll be okay. But my hand hovers an inch above the page until the ink seeps out and leaves a great black splotch. It's simple. Dead simple. A child could do it. When I was a teenager in the war, I did this without a second thought. Father, I've arrived at Uncle Toby's. All well. Huh? The party? The tower is quite far from the rest of the castle, though. Ignore it. Write your letter. All well. Simple words any child could write. Move the damn pen, Roger. All well! Help! Right below, the corridor at the bottom of the stairs. Someone's in trouble. I can't abandon them. I'm coming! When I enter the stairwell, I hear panting and footsteps below, as we each work towards each other's voices. The stairs seem longer than ever before. I stumble over my own feet in my haste. My counterpart's pace is inconsistent, scraping and stumbling, already exhausted from the trip. We circle around and around. Every circle feels like it could be the last, but the tower plays tricks, concertinas out, hides extra space between the layers somehow. When I think we're truly about to make contact, a third set of footsteps sneak in behind. Whoever's arrived is faultlessly fast and only becomes audible the instant before they tackle their target. Tap, tap, slam. I halt out of sight and press my back against the inner wall. Everything happens so close to me that I can feel it reverberate through the stones. Ugh! The pursuer cracks the runner's head against the wall, dislodging a last gasp from him as he passes out. Then, stomping, a few steps lower, they take hold of some part of him, an ankle or part of a jacket, and drag him back down the staircase, his body juddering until it hits the bottom. The hallway is carpeted. There's a brief hiss of rug burn, and then the noise is absorbed into the upholstery. Here I am, by myself in the tower. No one will hurt me if I stay in the tower. A decent guest would remain in the tower. Against any semblance of good judgment, I follow them. Let's see what I'm being kept from. The closer I get to the center of the castle, the cluster of public rooms by the foyer, the eerier the quiet becomes. There's supposed to be a party tonight. Where are the noises? Why have I heard nothing but that man's scream? Passing by a window, I catch a glimpse of the courtyard, dimly lit by the caravan's lamps. Initially, I didn't think much of it. The people are coming and going from their vehicles to their accommodation in the gatehouse. They collect suitcases and groceries to bring inside. Then I realize almost everyone is accounted for in the courtyard. They're excited, like students at a school camp, but not celebratory. The only people who could be inside are Vlad, the brides, and, at best, a handful of the visitors. That isn't much of a party. What the hell is happening tonight? The exit is closed. The great hall is open. The chandelier casts a beam of light through the double doors, a tall mass of shadows at its center. There are only 5 people inside. It's not until I'm at the doors, enveloped in the light and the shadow, that I can confirm who they are. So, I know. In that irrational part of my gut, the part that hungers ceaselessly for self-preservation, I have always known. This is not a normal business trip. These are not normal clients. He stands in the middle of the cluster, the girl's body slumped in his arms. The brides flank him, clutching a shoulder or a thigh each. Theodora remains concentrated on her meal. Saz adjusts the shoulder to hide behind it. Ileana spits as she makes eye contact. All of them are biting the girl. Dracula, her jugular, Theodora and Saz, her wrist. Ileana has torn through to the thick veins in her leg. They see me and stare, but none of them can wrest themselves from their prey. Even Dracula, proud and regal, lets his composure lose out to his thirst. I'm locked in place too, from fear. There's too much wrong in this building to be wholly surprised, but knowing there's a wolf in the woods doesn't prepare you to face it. Rather than let this awful moment continue, I open my stupid mouth to ask the stupidest question I've ever thought of. Is she okay? Like a dog caught with a chicken from the coop, Dracula blinks slowly, his pupils focusing and his jaws unclamping from her neck. His goatee is dyed solid red with her blood. There's a moment of wordless trembling before his mouth is able to form words. Renfield, pet. No. She's dead. Then I find a way to make it worse. Why? Because this house has needs, and the master must provide. Releasing his grip on her torso, he drops her into the bride's arms, where they're able to bite and gnaw even more ferociously. Compared to them, his animalism is restrained. They have focus and shame and spite, but nothing else. No instinct to stop before the well runs dry. He realizes he won't have my attention while the body and the brides are in view. Rather than step around them, he dissipates into pitch-black smoke and surges through the group, coalescing in front of me. For a moment after, he reforms. His eyes have that awful, hollow look again, and his features are contorted. He extends a hand to me. Not to worry. Your fate will be different. Anyway, that was Draculesti. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys do want to play this for yourselves, link to the game will be in the description below. I've had my eye on this game for a while now because, I mean, let's be real here. Who wouldn't want to date Dracula? Who would not want to date the Lord of Vampires himself, Dracula? Like, holy frick, this is a childhood dream come true, I gotta say. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you all have a lovely rest of the day. And, as always, I'll be seeing you in the next video. This is Lion, signing off. Ciao.